So let's dive in. So, there was a time when pleasure was actually considered sacred. And when bodies, particularly women's bodies, were seen as portals of wisdom, and when desire was seen as a flicker of divine inspiration, not something dangerous or something to be suppressed, right? Problems that had to be managed. So diet culture, shrinking our hunger down, softening our edges, or maybe just apologizing for wanting more. And pleasure, instead of being something that was embodied, became reduced to performance. And while we're at it, I think that in that power becomes something that is, needs to be earned instead of something that is like innately within us and embodied. It's not indulgence, right? So that's what we're going to talk about. When I think about setting up this framing for this conversation, I think about when people come in and they're sitting across from me in my office, and there's this deep, unspoken exhaustion. And it's not even physical in nature anymore. It is permeating and existential. And we're tired of pretending that we have it all together, and that having it all together is somehow the same as being fulfilled. And, in some ways, I think a lot of people feel like pleasure doesn't have a role in their life anymore, that it's frivolous. But I guess I'm here to say it's not. It's a language. It tells us when we're aligned and alive and connected in really good, wonderful, full, colorful ways. And, when we talk about feminism and this idea of feminist intimacy, that's really about presence more than what you might see in like patriarchy, which would be dominance. And it's, in this conversation, it's about reclaiming the right to want and to feel and to take up space and to do all of that without apologizing, because you are grounded and centered in your self-worth. So that's the framing for today's conversation. Okay. And it's not just about pleasure being like this nice to have. I think that, we really do think of pleasure as indulgence, and it can be, but also it's information. Yes, the body is saying like, more of this, please. And that's lovely and good. But for centuries, we've had women's pleasure treated as dangerous or distracting or optional. And we've learned that the place where we get to be seen as worthy or be connected to our sense of worth is mostly in sacrifice, and sacrifice specifically of ourselves for the sake of someone else. And yet, when a woman rediscovers her pleasure, she, I think, becomes self-sovereign, right? And for some people, that sounds synonymous with ungovernable, which can be threatening if your power is dependent on suppressing somebody else's. And the reason that that's threatening is because I think that pleasure teaches self-trust.